Hi everyone, I am here talking it out with Remy Lambert and Steve Trudell, the brains behind 50 Amp Fuse. Tell me about the craft that you're creating. You're crafting a design, you're crafting a band, you're crafting a style. We want to have a very specific look, a very specific style. You know, how does that work? What are you going for? What are you trying to put together?
Our stylist, we have May Azao does all of our clothing for us, and
Very
she does a
cool.
lot of the movies. She just did the Oz movie, she's
Nice.
yeah, and she does the styling for the group, and I sit with her and go through all the clothes. That's one of my jobs, is I go through every piece of clothing. We still leave it as a rock and roll band, so it has that we travel in a van together kind of vibe to it.
Which we still do.
You're right. You're right. But it's still ultra. Well, it's planes, and we've reached a point of it's not that. But it came out of being a club band. We never really want to lose that. One thing that Remy and I always are set on, and I don't know that we even talk about that much, but we looked at 100 tribute bands, cover bands. There was a website you could go to. We looked at 100, and we'd go back and forth, and we still send stuff back and forth. We see things, certain groups that people send to us or whatever. But we really felt like on most of that stuff, the quality is only there with one or two members. I've never really heard a group where I went, okay, somebody really thought this through.
I think everything for us has come from a grassroots perspective of the fact that, not that we haven't put a lot of money into what we're doing, and in the end, from your initial question, we're branding. We're trying to create a brand that makes sense for what we do. But again, everything comes from the very beginning of, we were just four guys with some guitars.
Yeah.
It kind of gets a life of its own, and then you try to steer it the way that, as it's going, you want to steer it to try and keep some sort of a brand on it.
What I think is so interesting about it is that I see a lot of musicians in all walks of life, from all, in all stages of their career. They struggle so hard to get an audience. They try so hard to, send out their email list and get people to hear their songs and resonate with their songs. But now you guys, you're singing songs that people already love.
A fan a long time ago told me, he said, you guys are doing something that you're taking people's problems away for just a couple hours, and that's enough that it makes it great for us. And so because they know the music, because they're losing their stress for a couple hours, we try to make it a lot of fun, where we can lift some people up in that way.
Well, it's so therapeutic. Music, therapy,
yes,
music
absolutely.
as therapy, music, just to build community, to get it in the schools, to help people get into bands instead of gangs, right?
Oh.
I mean, there's so much opportunity when people can be creative. And one of the reasons I love hosting Talk It Out and why I've been doing it for so long is because I feel like musicians have the ability to be leaders in the community. And when they tap into that natural ability to create and to write and to put their ideas together and get up there on stage and succeed, I mean, if you can do anything after that.
I think so. If you can instill that into a young person and watch them, the younger people that are in this band, I mean, that's a testament to what we're trying to do in a way. And if we can convey that to some really young kids, and show them that, look, there's a future for everyone,
Yeah, we've taken these people. There's 4 of them in our group that did not do this for a living, and they're doing it full time now. And I'm really proud of what Remy and I have done with that. That means so much to me, because it's very difficult to make a living as a musician. It's really difficult. When you're doing this music from 6 decades, or 5 decades really is what we do, really 5 decades of music, and we mash it all together, you also have to have the clothes.
And we try to cut down the material, actually, so that we get to the meat of the material, so we can give you a lot more material instead of, okay, here's a 7-minute song, okay, now here's another 5-minute. So you got to cut it down and get to the meat of it, and so that you can get the
It's
point across.
entertaining.
Yeah.
And that's at the core. It's just so fun.
Absolutely, it's a variety show.
Yeah.
You come out,
Yeah,
and that's what
it's
your
different.
generation in concert is about. That's
Exactly.
what we're...
So what's the distinction between 50 Amp Fuse and your generation in concert?
50 Amp Fuse was a band that we started with, and we really wanted to build a show because of the different groups that I work with. We see a lot of that. We see theatrics and all that. We really want to build our own show, and but we want the band to be involved in the show.
Okay.
So it could be a show. Right now it's 4 go-go dancers. It's 4 young singers coming out on stage.
Everything.
Yeah, it went from being a 5-piece club band, so that's your generation in concert, and we thought that was a good name.
It's very,
we came up with that, and we wanted to use it. So that's what we're morphing into, and so that we also felt that works better on a marquee in Las Vegas.
So now you guys, especially Steve and Remy, both of you guys have seen Detroit in its heyday with Motown, right? So now Detroit's coming back. What do you guys think of Detroit today, the music scene here, the revitalization? What do you think's in Detroit's future?
Man, I'd like to see it be the great city that it once was. I mean, the Motown thing was just huge. I mean, there's been so much great music from rock and roll to Motown to jazz to the music scene in Detroit always has. I mean, and it still really has survived this. There's still a lot of great music in Detroit. So as far as that goes, I would really like to see that expand, and I'd like to see, hopefully the economy is really going to come back. I think people are really starting to care a little bit about Detroit, but let's face it, Detroit became the poster child for this abandoned city. It did.
Absolutely, and abandoned cities all over the country.
Right.
Yeah, so, we hit bottom, but we weren't the only ones that hit bottom.
We weren't the only ones, but I think we probably went further down than most, and I think that it's really shows you that you can survive it, and Detroit's coming back, and we feel great about that we're from here, and we always want to be part of Detroit. It's our home. So.
But I hung in there, and Remy hung in there through all of it. We've always been Detroit boys. We've always been here. We're not guys that put ball caps on and all that stuff and say, hey, yo, Detroit. That's not what we're about. I did the work there with my father. I worked every hotel, every country club, the Rooster Tail, the Renaissance Center. I worked when there were no bands, when there was no Kid Rock, and there was no Eminem.
And we still do that.
We still do it. We still go to work, and we do it quietly. But I'm a champion of the Illich family. I'm a champion of Dan Gilbert. I mean, come on. These guys and these girls, these are the people that are bringing it back. These are the people that are, urban renewal is what you have to have. And they're doing it. I go down there now, and I'm walking.
We're big fans of all those guys.
Yeah, and we play for them.
Your music is a symbol of that as well. Urban renewal, music renewal, the sounds of the past, the sounds of today.
Sure.
I mean, it really blends. It really
we try
meshes.
to mix them together so that you.
I love it. So are you writing your own music now? Are you going to take 50 Amp Fuse to a different level? Where is it going to stay a tribute band? Are you going to incorporate some of your own songs at some point?
I think we're going to surprise everybody with what we got planned.
Talking about some of that. So you never know.
I work
showbiz.
Well, we'll stay surprised and be in the moment. It was great, you guys.
You got to keep it fresh. Well, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
This
Thank
was a
you for having us,
pleasure.
Jodi.
It's great to meet you guys. Keep it up. Keep on rocking and rolling.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us on Talk It Out. We'll see you next time. Peace and love from the D.
Darling, I can't get enough of your love, baby.